You are entering the Urban Suite. Let's talk about sex. talk about mental health.
Now, my mic. Yes. How are you all doing today? Welcome to another episode of Urban Tools for Change, presented by me, Dr. Lisa LaCON. How are you doing? It's a beautiful day here in New Jersey. Oh my goodness, it's gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And I am so excited about today's guest who will be entering into the Urban Suite. So, we have a phenomenal sister that's going to enter into the Urban Suite. But before I introduce her to you guys, I need you to like, I need you to share, and I need you to subscribe. How are you all doing, my Facebook page followers? I'm talking, we are going hard and strong. I'm trying to get my YouTubers up there, my subscribers. Listen. This is the only place that you're going to hear about sex toys and mental health. Hello, you're going to hear about sex offenders and mental health and the different laws governing sex offenders here in the Urban Suite. And also, Urban Tools for Change is sponsored by Blessed Ministries Incorporated, BMI, the premier workforce development agency in the state of New Jersey. Listen, we work with parolees, those under the supervision of parole. We work with adults with disabilities. We work with youth with disabilities. We work with anyone who needs a job who has been impacted by opioids. So, to get more information about who we are, visit our website, www.bmiworks.org. Again, that's www.bmiworks.org. And also is sponsored by, I have another sponsor, GotItToday.com, the premier e-commerce company where you can find all your essential wellness goods, from sanitary napkins to water. And that that website is www.gotitday.com. That's www.gotittoday.com. All right, so let me begin by sharing who is getting ready to enter into the Urban Suite. I'm so excited, you guys. I'm so excited. And I'm going to talk about Miss Harding, Brittany Harding. And I have to put my readers on. Y'all know I need my readers. It's a shame. Anyway, listen, I'm alive and alert right now because it's 6 o'clock. It's not 10 p.m. because you all know my bedtime is 9:30. So I'm wired right now. But I'm also wired because this is a phenomenal book. It really is. It's very practical, and we're going to dig into it. But let me first let you know who will be entering into the Urban Suite. All right. So Ms. Harden is a clinical professional counselor and guidance counselor. As a clinical professional counselor, she specializes in coping skills for children. She understands the importance for children to be given the skills to effectively cope with trauma. And this is what we've been talking about in the Urban Suite: children and trauma, from children being sexually molested, being abused, sex trafficking, all of that is trauma. So let's go on. As a guidance counselor in New Jersey public schools, listen, I'm sure she's seen a lot, and we're going to ask her about that. She has firsthand experience with children saying things that could be harmful to their peers without harmful intentions. Now, oftentimes, a lot of adults do that too. That's me adding that. That's not her writing that. All right. Children must be taught at an early age that sometimes people are not responding directly to them, but rather the situation, which is true. All right. This book directly exemplifies situations that could happen to children as they reintegrate back into in-person school models, which is happening right now. So I know y'all watching football because it's the first Sunday. Yes. put the remote down, turn this on. All right, this is very important. This book also provides effective coping skills. Yes, very effective coping skills and safety tips to help children remain healthy mentally and physically. And then she says she hopes this book helps remind children it's not them, it's COVID. All right, so I am getting ready to bring in, yes, Miss Harding. Hello, sunshine.
Hello. How are you?
I am doing well. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for entering into the Urban Suite. You have officially, you are our third guest in the Urban Suite. Hello, yes.
I'm excited to be here.
Oh, thank you. Now, your book is titled It's Not You, It's COVID. And I have to say, when I first was introduced to this book, I was a little shocked. Not shocked in a bad level or anything like that, but it was shocking because it was so personal in a sense, and it was so practical, and it really touched about the issue of trauma and anxiety. So it's not you, it's COVID. It's a self help children's book on how to effectively respond to COVID 19. And I thought this book was hands down one of the best children's books I have read in a very long time. And I tell people why, because you utilize practical tips in here to give people an example, to give children an example of what to do and what not to do. So let's dig into this book, okay? So, what inspired you to write this book?
So, when I first started writing this book, it just came from speaking to some of my clients, because when I was first challenged with COVID as an educator and as a therapist, my students had all these anxieties. I don't want to go back to school. People are around me, all the social anxiety that was coming along with it. And it was framework like, you guys don't need to feel like this. Everyone's going to have these same anxieties. And they were internalizing that what the world was saying was about them. And it wasn't about them. It was more about people trying to figure out where they fit in the context of the COVID pandemic. And I think that's where the title came from. It's not you. They're not responding to you. They're not afraid of you. They're afraid of what this pandemic can do and harm them.
Now, anxiety, how do you define anxiety?
So this is that constant worry, that constant, what's going to happen? What is going to happen to me? What is going to happen to them? What is going to manifest next? It's that unknown piece that as adults, we couldn't ease for kids because we didn't know. And for the most part, children look at us for all the answers. And when we don't have those answers, the media is uncertain, the news is uncertain, schools are not within normal limits, home life's not within normal limits, their parents are not within normal limits. There was nothing that was certain. So they are feeling all the anxiety from the world, and they were expected to operate normally. And that wasn't realistic. So how do we ease their anxiety when we're anxious as adults?
So did you see a difference in the symptoms of anxiety, children versus adults, or was it pretty much the same? Or
I think that, and what I'm investigating now as we're going back to school, is how the parents respond is how the children are responding. So depending on which household you're in and how your parents maneuver, if they kept their job, right? If they were more accepting of like going into the world and socializing you and having friends over during the pandemic, which for in our situation in New Jersey, some kids were out of school for 18 months. Right?
Oh my God.
18 months is a very, very long time to not be socialized.
Right.
And if you have no siblings and cousins or people coming to your house, some kids didn't see other kids for 18 months. Right? So if your parents didn't allow you to socialize, you were then thrown back into school last week or a week ago and expected to be around 1,000 kids again.
Wow.
That anxiety of wait a minute, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to act? How am I supposed to behave? All those that social anxiety of, oh no, I don't fit anymore. Now exacerbates.
So if parents are anxious, 9 times out of 10, the children will be anxious. What can we do as a community to assist the parents so that the children will have less anxiety?
I think it's just a social cultural piece.
Mhm,
Your kids are manifesting from you, right?
mhm,
So you want your kids to relax. Okay, how are you operating in this context? You
mm,
want your kids to be able to sit still and do work. What are you doing at home? Are you able to sit still and do work? You want your
mm,
kids to sit and read a book for 20 minutes. Are you modeling that at home? Are you able to sit still and read a book at home for 20 minutes? I think that we expect our kids to operate um, in specific ways, and we don't model that for them. So
mm,
for adults, I think it's about introspection. Look at
mhm.
yourself. Look at what you're doing. You want your kids to reach out to their guidance counselors and talk to their teachers? Who are you talking
Right,
to? Who are you
right.
reaching out to? What
Mm,
resources are you modeling for? So I think understanding that your child, yes, is a child, but they're also a human being. Find your human element as well.
excellent, excellent. Yeah, because this book is very practical and I think it could be used for adults as well. Because let's dig into this book. One of the first things that you talk about in this book is going back to school can be very scary. And I often talk about the thoughts that we have. I call it the bear movement, beliefs expected as reality. So you have these images in your mind that X, Y, and Z may happen when you go to school. And this is very, I love this because it all goes to your mind. What are you thinking? And you hit it the first thing that when you open this book, going back to school can be very scary. Because for me, when I went back to school, it was very scary. You know, it's like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? I'm anxious. Am I going to fit in? Am I going to do, And then it says kids really miss their teachers and friends, but kids are also very afraid of catching a virus called COVID-19. And I think the media had a wonderful job of showing how many people died, how many people died. I think if you project that image all the time, it's going to heighten our anxiety. And I think your book is so practical that it not only talks about the anxiety piece, but it also talks about how this virus can be spread and how we can safeguard ourselves. So you mentioned something about COVID-19 is a viral infection that can be passed from person to person, from sneezing, coughing, touching things with germs on them. Now, we know kids are a little germy, like they're just nasty. They
Poor
they do
thing.
this, they,
Mm-hmm.
they don't wash their hands,
Right.
and then working with that population. See, I don't work with kids. I can't work with kids. I told I can no. The nose is runny. I just can't do it. I just can't. God bless you. God bless you, because I can't do it. Speaking of that, what age group do you deal with?
So I specialize with 6-year-olds about 16.
Oh, 6 to 16. See that?
Yeah, I mean, I do everything, but my main focus is about 6 to 16.
Wow. Yeah. God bless you, because I can't do this. Working with the kids, the 6-year-olds. So anyway, it
That's the
says
best
schools are
age,
doing their best, huh?
that's the best age group. The younger
Oh,
ones. They're the most
oh,
honest. They
yeah.
tell
Well,
you
that's
everything. The 16-year-olds, it takes forever to pull the truth out. The 6-year-olds
right.
say what it is.
You're like, Johnny, did you take that cookie? Yes, I
Yep.
did. I took the cookie. Look.
It was good too.
So in the school, are they still doing hand sanitizing, temperature checks, wearing the mask? I know they're wearing a mask.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think things are going to start changing even more now, since now there's the vaccine out.
Okay.
Under 12, there might be, testing weekly for
Mm.
everyone under 12 or not vaccinated. So they're doing the weekly testing, the temperature checks. They're doing hand sanitizer as soon as you walk in the building, every station, there's a lot happening. So they're trying to take as many safety protocols as possible. And the kids are kind of used to it now. It's almost funny to see. They like kindergartners, right? The 5, 6-year-old. This is all they know for school.
Right? Yeah. Oh my God.
So it's so interesting to see the dynamic there. And if you don't do it, like say if someone wasn't there, the hand sanitizer wasn't there, they're like, they'll wait there. Like, I can't walk into school without my hand sanitizer because this is their routine.
Yes.
Versus the older kids are like, I gotta still do this because this wasn't their routine.
Goodness. Yeah. So now we're being conditioned with the little kids to wear masks. And speaking of masks, oftentimes children may wear 2 masks. One, the physical mask, and then masking their anxiety. What type of symptoms or whatever should parents, teachers look out for when a child is perhaps masking their anxiety?
So when kids are masking anxiety, it can formulate in a few different ways. It depends on the child's personality. So some kids are overly anxious and overly zealous. They want to be seen, they want to be heard, they want to be standing out. The other kids are kind of all the way in the back. They're not talking, they're not speaking. And then there's some kids that are right in the middle and you don't even notice them. And they're the best at hiding their anxiety. So in my personal experience, anxiety looks and feels many different ways for many different students and kids alike. It's about relationships. If you don't have a relationship with these kids, you're not going to know them well enough to know what they're going through. Some kids are just naturally outgoing. That might not be anxiety for them. Right. But the kid sitting next to them, that kid being loud next to them could be anxiety provoking for them. Right. So understanding maybe that kid that's more reserved shouldn't be sitting next to that kid that is more outgoing. So, but you need to know each individual relationships are everything. If I can coach and preach nothing else, you don't have to know a lick of math, a lick of language arts as an educator. If you can't build a relationship, you don't belong in education. Wow. Because you won't find the anxiety, you won't find the depression, you won't find the trauma going on at home because they're not going to talk to you. They don't know you. They don't think you care enough to know.
That's interesting. I'm telling you. And then you go on to say, I really like your mask. Can we trade? Like trading sandwiches. I love that. Like, oh my God.
It happens. You're my friend. I like yours. Can I have yours? And this kid's like, my mom said I can't do that. Right. Wait, why? I don't have COVID. Well, you still got germs. Well, everyone has germs. That's okay. Understand that.
So
what he's saying is true. It's just how he's saying is a little off.
Right. So how do you work with children when someone may feel, in a sense, bullied by not sharing their mask? Like, what conversation do you have? A practical conversation with like 2 children that are going through this scenario?
What's wrong? Ask him, how are you feeling right now? I'm upset. Why are you upset? Because he won't share his mask. Is it his mask? Yeah. Does he have to share his mask? No. Do you share everything that belongs to you? No. Okay. You think it's fair that he has to share his mask? Everything that you ask for, you get? Okay. So what is something that you like that you don't want to share? Do you have to share that? Okay. Yeah. So it's literally, I like to frame it so that they put it into their own language. Okay, this is his. Do you have something that belongs to you that you don't like to share? Would you be upset if someone took this from you and made you share this? Oh yeah, well, that's how he's feeling right now. It's empathy, right? I make them feel empathy, and I talk to them through it. So you have to teach kids empathy. You have to teach them how to understand other people's feelings. Because they don't just naturally know. We naturally are aggressors. We're naturally me. For me, only me. I take care of me. That's natural. Right. It's natural to care for you. Exactly. So you have to teach that piece. Right. And once they learn it, they're like, oh yeah, it doesn't feel good to have my stuff taken. Oh yeah, it doesn't feel good when someone makes me do things that I don't want to do. I don't want to do that for someone else.
Right. And then you touched upon like visiting people's homes. That's another area. Like, you had friends that came over and now you're isolated. And then you may ask your mom, can I go to Johnny's house? And mommy's going to say, no, And then how do you process that information with children and as well as parents so that parents will know how to effectively communicate a no to them without it just being, no, you can't go.
Right. So I try my best
Mm-hmm.
in the school system
Mm-hmm.
when I talk to parents not to tell them how to parent their kid,
Right.
because
Mm-hmm.
parents we get very defensive with that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. In my clinical practice, we do
Mm-hmm.
parent coaching, and that's very different because in that situation, they're asking for my help. In
Right.
the school system, they can take it almost like, you can't tell me how to raise my kid, right? So
Right.
there's a piece to that. There's a dynamic switch in my different roles in my life, right? So I
Okay.
have to make sure I'm very aware of my
Right.
responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
So in the school system, if a kid said that to a student, okay, he's not allowed to come to your house because his mom wants to keep him safe. Can you think of other reasons why he's not allowed to come to your house? His mom's saying he can't come because what? It's not he just can't come to your house, but why do you think he can't come? Why do you think you're not allowed to go to his house for the birthday party? Are you allowed to go other places? Like, I'd help them come up with their own solutions. That's kind of my whole framework, is like that cognitive behavioral piece. Why
Right.
do we think this way? Why do we behave this way? Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Now, how is it with the social distancing? Because I know children. That's
So it's changed in Jersey, right? So now it's 3 feet apart. It's not 6.
okay. Oh, okay.
It changed, I guess, when the governor made the executive decision to allow the students to come back to school, 100% of the students. So it's now 3 feet apart,
Mm-hmm.
which is not that far, right? That's about a half
Right.
of an adult body. And they're okay with the most part because some of them are used to being away from others. But then the other ones are kind of like, I missed you. I'm all in your face.
Right. Hugging, kissing, like, well, not kiss, but you know what I mean.
I mean, but even so, some cultural components are to kiss, right?
Right.
As a form of greeting.
Right.
So it's just reminding them that, all right, guys, we can't get that close. Why can't we get that close? Letting them answer their own whys. I'm a big component on not telling kids what to do, but giving them a question and allowing them to answer the question in a responsive way so that they're registering it in their long-term memory, right? If I give them the answer, that's a short-term memory. All right, I heard her. Bye.
Absolutely.
You answer it. You got to use your working memory. What did she say? Okay, recall that. Spit it out. Long-term memory.
Right. Absolutely. All right. So let's see. Do your best to be sensitive and kind because some, like you said, some children just aren't kind. Like, oh my gosh, be careful what you say to your friends. No one wants to feel alone or scared. And that's just, and then this one, how do you keep yourself from feeling upset about what people say? Let's talk about that because you have very practical steps in this book about that. Your first one is stop and take a deep breath. Why is that important?
Because you need time to process what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Don't react in that moment. Because if you don't stop yourself, breathing uses your mouth. So now I'm okay. So you're not saying anything, right? It gives you that split second to not be using your mouth for anything else besides breathing. Breathe. All right.
And then think. Is it me or is it the situation?
Are they responding to me? Did I really do something to this person, or are they responding to what's going on around? It's a time to process, right? So that thinking is to stop you from talking, and in that time period, you were processing what just happened. And then a 3-second belly breathing is what I teach. It's hard to articulate that in a book sometimes. So a 3-second belly breathing activity is breathe in 1, 2, 3, hold it 1, 2, 3, let it out 1, 2, 3. So in that time frame, you had 9 seconds to, whoa, got it.
This reminds me of mindfulness.
It is mindfulness.
Yes, it's mindfulness, just being in the moment and just, where you are in the situation. And then the last one is react. Let the person know that they hurt your feelings or decide to ignore them.
So I tell kids all the time, kids love to tell adults what another person has done to them. Right. And adults walk you over and they make you do this whole process with them. I want to help children. Like I said, it's a self-help book. We want to have independence. We want to be autonomous. Let this person know what they've done to you. And if in my practice, I teach us, steps to effectively tell someone they've hurt you, right? Tell them, use I statements, right? I feel as though you did this to me. when you did this, it hurt my feelings. I would like you to, right?
Mhm.
And then give them that time to let them know that they hurt you.
Mhm.
Because if you don't, most people don't, sometimes they don't know they hurt your feelings.
Right.
People
Absolutely.
get quiet if they really hurt your feelings. You get quiet and you just walk
Right.
away, and someone does it again and then again and then again. Now you're mad
Right.
because now
Right.
they've been crossed your boundaries 100 times.
Yes.
You can't get mad at someone that you never told that they hurt you.
Mm.
You cannot be mad at them for if they didn't know that they hurt you, right?
Right.
You have to articulate yourself. You have to
Mhm.
communicate that. And when we miss that piece, if you choose to ignore it, you chose to say that didn't bother me enough to tell them.
Mm.
So if it
I
happened
think
again, it doesn't bother you.
right. And I think a lot of adults need to understand that also in a relationship, even in marriage or whatever it is, that you have to communicate effectively. And without communicating effectively, things get crossed and wires. And then when people snap, they snap because they didn't initially communicate.
Like,
And
I
this
didn't
is
even know that bothered you.
oh,
Like,
yeah.
that's been bothering me for 5 years.
Right.
5 years.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. Now, this says if you have any questions or feel unsafe, talk to a trusted adult in your life. They are there to help. And I love that part because it's really reassuring to them. In spite of what's happening, talk to that trusted person that you feel like what you said earlier, have a wonderful, positive relationship with. And then it says, when we are in this together. If someone says something that may hurt your feelings, try to remember it's not you, it's COVID. I love that. Oh my goodness. And then what I love also on page 18, you have effective coping skills. When you are upset or feel hurt, these are some things you can do. Now, this is not a list for every single person, but everyone has something in their toolbox that gives them some type of wellness. And then you have draw, because I know drawing is not mine.
Neither.
But
Nope. Can't draw it.
drawing is not mine, but you have draw, take deep breaths, read, exercise, play a game, talk to someone you trust. Tell yourself, I love this one. Tell yourself 3 things you like about yourself. That's so important.
Mhm. Just
Now,
positive affirmations.
yes. Now, number 7, that one, tell yourself 3 things you like about yourself. Do you find children struggle with that?
I think that they struggle with understanding that they're allowed to talk positive about themselves.
Mm.
So when I first implement that, I do this in my practice. So like I said, there's
Mhm.
2 pieces to this book, an
Right.
educational piece and a clinical piece.
Right.
So in my practice, I always have kids, tell me something that you really like about yourself. Well, I really like my shoes. I really like my shirt. No, those aren't things of you. Tell me
Mhm.
something you like about you. And they
Right.
always give me, these items. No.
Mhm.
They have a very hard time telling me about characteristics about themselves or
Mm.
physical features of themselves. They think it's not a good thing or that it's not socially accepted to talk about yourself because maybe they think it's bragging or they think it's
Right.
narcissistic, right? But in the adverse, I say, well, tell me things you dislike about yourself. They can speak that off.
Oh, isn't
They
that
can speak
something?
that off.
Mm.
So I like to make sure that we do positive affirmation. We do positive self-talk. I am this. I am that. I like this about me. And once they start smiling. Like, I really do. I really do like my hair. I'm like, your hair is beautiful. Yeah, you should like your hair. I like your hair. But it's not enough for me to like it. You have to like it, right?
Right.
So then they find that inner self-worth, that self-efficacy that
Mhm.
is sometimes missed because everyone is hyper focused on the things that they don't like or that can be
Wow.
changed or differentiated. So yeah,
That sounds like that can be somewhat very destructive for our community. That's very sad to me that, we struggle to get 3 positive affirmations about ourselves, but the negative ones come out like boom. And to be perfectly honest, growing up, I grew up in Washington, D.C. Based on my complexion, I was not seen as attractive. there was an issue like, oh, if the lighter you were, the more attractive you were. The darker you were, the more, unattractive you were. So you didn't really have that positive affirmation. I know I didn't have positive affirmation like, Lisa, you look nice, you're intelligent. I never really heard any of that kind of like growing up. And I think as parents, we need to do a better job with talking with our children and affirming to them some positive traits that they have. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, we have a program working with youth with disabilities. Most of them have, well, all of them have IEPs, individualized, education plan. And man, the mother thought she had hung the phone up. The son forgot to turn in his timesheet. I mean, she called him every name in the book. She dropped every MF bomb. It was so sad. I was like, oh my gosh.
So let me follow up with 2 points with that, just to follow up on your point, right? So in your house, as a wife and mother, right? You do 100 things in the household. You forget one. Everyone notices that one thing you forgot. No one talks about the good things, right? Yeah, because no one really notices the good or likes to discuss the good, even though the goods are happening and the goods are 100% there. The negatives are hyper focused on. Second point, when someone compliments you, what's the first thing we do? Negate the compliment.
Right. We don't accept.
We don't just say thank you. You look so put together today. Oh, I just threw this on and I put it on real quick. I ain't even this shirt is so wrinkled. I didn't even. Why can't we just say thank you? Right?
Yeah.
It's the point, like, I'm not allowed to be good. I'm not allowed to be acknowledged, even though I know I tried this morning, even though I know I spent a little bit extra time. Someone else noticed it, and I'm not allowed to acknowledge the notice. I can't just say thank you.
Now, I wonder, in other cultures, do they experience that, or is that primarily within the urban community? I don't know. What do you?
I can't say. I can't say. I mean, I think that's a people thing, right? I think that unless you are brought up to understand that you are worth every compliment, I think that we shy away from it. We in society are not allowed to be proud of the things you've accomplished. There's always something better you can be doing.
Right. Now, how do you tell people or inform people about tools in their toolbox? Like a good tool versus a bad tool, because there are some bad tools that we
maladaptive.
Okay. Well, see, I use bad tools because I have a lot of people from Jamaica. So when I use terms like that, I try to break it down. I try to, I got to go back and forth. I can't all the time. My audience would be like, what is she talking about? Maladaptive behavior. What? So I have to say positive, negative.
There we go. So I think that it comes to the person, right? Like try it. Can you draw? No? Okay, that's not a coping skill for you. Next. Can you sing? No? Okay, that's not one for you either. What do you like to do? Oh, I like to work out. Okay, you have anger issues. How about we hit a boxing gym?
Right.
Right. So like that might be something that you're good at. Let's see if that releases some of those tensions for you. So it's about, again, building relationships enough to know the individual and then testing it with them. I'm not an expert on anyone's life, and I say that all the time. I'm not an expert on your life. I don't know anything more than you know about you, right? So you're the expert on your life. Right. I can just help you figure out the tools that you already have inside of you that you just haven't uncovered yet. And that's just what the job's about. And that's just what the nature of work for the social well-being of others is. Just figuring out how to make you more well.
Wow. And then it says, can you think of any other ways to calm yourself down, which is so important? Any other ways to calm yourself down? And I think that's the key to what you put in your toolbox. How can I become calm by the things that I use, that is going to promote wellness, that's going to promote recovery? How can I use these things, and in what manner. And then it says, what are some things you like to do to keep yourself happy? Which is also a good thing, because there are certain things that I like to do to keep myself happy. So, but, hey,
Right.
I have my little wine, but I don't think that would be appropriate in the little kid's toolbox. But
Unless they were doing it like in some type of religious.
right.
Listen, we don't judge, we support.
Right. And then you have the safety tips. Wear a mask. I love that. Wear a mask. Stay. Now it was 6 feet, but now it's 3 feet.
Yes.
Okay, apart from others. Wash your hands for 20 seconds. That is key. Wash your hand. I can't stand when people don't wash their hands. And a lot of adults don't wash their hands too. Oh my God. It's disgusting. When you think about it, it's disgusting.
Correct.
Oh. Use hand sanitizer when you can't wash your hands, which is true. I always keep a little bottle in the car, in my bag, and whatever. Mm-hmm. Keep your hands away from your face and mouth. That's hard, even for adults. This very challenging. Oh my gosh. Touch only what belongs to you. I like that too. And then be sensitive to others. And then you have something also in this book. You have sort of like pre-COVID, to measure yourself pre-COVID to sort of like post-COVID, whenever we'll get out of this, just to see how much you've grown. And I think oftentimes something like this, when we're dealing with a pandemic, we do have the opportunity to grow. How much change have you seen from pre-COVID to now in terms of emotional state of children?
So I like to frame that in terms of, let's just talk about the age groups I work with. Right now, I have a second grade class. I'm a guidance counselor, second grade class, right? Last time they were in school was March of 2020, right? It's now September 2021. They were kindergartners last time they were in school. They were academic kindergartners. What do you do in kindergarten? You color. You learn how to dissect and decode three letter words. Right. Second grade. By the end of second grade, you're supposed to be an independent reader and writer. Independent, meaning that you can decode any words. You can learn to read them. You're writing by yourself. You're learning math and font by yourself. How did you expect them to literally say at last time you had a teacher in front of you to now being reading, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious? I need you to decode that. How did you go from two extremes like that? These kids are sitting in a classroom and they're supposed to be doing what you ask them to do. So, and then socially, kindergartners, right? You still have potty buddies. You're still walking into class to walk into the bathroom, and you have maybe a bathroom even in your classroom, versus going into a full elementary school where you're supposed to walk around the school and there's other 7th, 6th, and 7th graders in the building, and you're looking up to them like they are towers, and you're now
giants,
apprehensive, and you're nervous. And what are you supposed to do? They didn't get a progression. They got no training. They got thrown in there, and they're supposed to just snap into it.
Now, based on that scenario, because I know that is true, what do you believe are the long-term effects of that?
I think that the achievement gap is really unrealistic for so many kids. To close that achievement gap. So let's think about it now. For 12 years, for the whole generation of kids in school, from the kindergartners 2 years ago to people graduating through, they're not going to be academically on grade level. So when we're graduating 12th graders this year, they could still be academic 10th graders, and then they're supposed to go to college and be academic college level students when they're still academic 10th. So like, where are we supposed to put these people? Where, like, GREs and SATs, and they didn't learn that. They didn't learn trigonometry. They didn't learn that. Or if they did, it wasn't in the same like modality that the rest of the world got it So how are they expected to perform at the same rates? And then when they don't, now they're considered like learning disabled. Now they need interventions. No, it's not their fault. They're not cognitively behind. The system is behind, and these kids cannot be faulted for it.
So this generation will be the generation when we're in like a nursing home to take care of us. Oh gosh, I hope they. Oh my gosh, I'm like, oh Lord.
Maybe you, Dr. LaCON. Maybe you, not me yet.
No.
The next generation got me. I'm still good.
Oh my Lord, what's gonna happen? Oh my gosh, will I have good doctors? Like,
I mean, hopefully, and then some kids that were already highly motivated intrinsically were fine, or then they had social settings, like I said, with the parents, they were fine, where their parents pushed them. But it's the kids that were already at a disadvantage, or the kids that maybe weren't at a disadvantage but had social traumas at home or social whatever. We don't know. We didn't see them for 18 months.
Right.
We didn't build relationships for 18 months. How do we know what happened?
So for us, what we did, we interviewed the students to see if they would be eligible for the program, and we interviewed them via Zoom. But I knew based on how they interacted with the camera and things of that nature, having a remote learning experience would not work for the population. So we had to bring them into the classroom. So it was in vivo. We actually, they were there for a week, and I think it was fantastic for them. I know it was fantastic for me because in my field, I would rather be in vivo. I would rather have the person in front of me so I could look at, body language in a sense, not be overly distracted by the artwork in their backdrop, people walking by. You have parents like, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is not working. And they're eating. I'm like, oh gosh, this is not going to work. You have to come in. We're not doing a hybrid because it's just not the same. And also, children weren't taught how to be on that platform. They were just thrown into the platform. There is no etiquette class on, okay, these are the do's and don'ts when you're on a Zoom, interview, when you're on a Zoom camera, when you're in the Zoom class. Yeah, people with the hood. I'm like, no, put your take your do-rag off, please, Johnny.
Yeah. So that's very true. So when I'm doing a little bit of research on right now is the difference between, because people are like, well, people have been learning at home forever. I'm like, well, homeschooling and trauma learning are two different pieces, right? This was an emergency response. These kids and families did not choose this. Homeschooling is chosen. People that go to school, like even college online, chose that option.
Right.
This was forced. This gave nobody options. People don't know how to do this. They didn't want to do this. Parents don't know technology. Kids didn't know technology. High schoolers they didn't want to do this. They had to go to work still. There was a lot going on, and people wanted to relate that to homeschool. It's not the same. It's not even close to the same. Just because they're home did not make it homeschooling.
Right.
So there was nothing taught. So I mean, some kids thrived. Some kids loved being at home. They hate coming back. They're like, I love being at home. It was so easy. I got to do all my work, but those were the kids that were intrinsically motivated. They were already academically strong. They knew what they were doing. But the kids that need that interpersonal interaction, that teacher motivation, they struggle.
So, final last words. What would you say to a parent that may be dealing with a child that is overly anxious to encourage them to encourage their child?
When we encourage our children, my first thing would be use positive statements, even when you're talking about negative things. So in the book, right, touch only what belongs to you is a very different statement than don't touch other people's stuff.
Say that again. Repeat that. Say that again.
Touch only what belongs to you is a very different statement than don't touch other people's stuff, right? don't use the negative, right? When we talk to children, we want to give them the positives in everything. It lessens the anxiety because now they're not worried about what they shouldn't do. They are focused on what they should be doing. Right? So that CBT, that cognitive behavior therapy, that thought, behavior, action, right? How they think about what they're supposed to do is going to change their behavior. If I think I'm supposed to be doing something positively, I'm going to behave positively. If I'm worried about everything I shouldn't be doing, I'm going to be more and more anxious, right?
Yes.
So calm them down by positive statements. Don't leave the bathroom, not wash your hands. How about, we wash our hands every time we leave the bathroom, right? Change the framework. Just change the way they think about things. As their parent, right? Think about everything you're doing. As their parent, think about how you are acting. Think about how you're behaving in the house. Think about how you're modeling. Kids learn by doing.
That's right.
No one said put one foot in front of the other to walk. They seen you doing it, they followed suit. No one told them to sit on, no one told them to, start talking. Start talking. No, they heard you talking and they started following suit.
Right. Kids are the ultimate recorders. They're horrible interpreters at a certain age.
That's a different case. But when we talk about lessening their anxiety, if they worry less when they see you successfully completing a task, when they see you successfully doing what they're worried about. If you're worried about going to work, you're saying all these things. Oh, I don't want to go to work. I don't want to the COVID, the mask. I gotta get the vaccination. I gotta get the shot. Now they're like, oh God, I gotta do the same thing. I gotta do. Now they're all up in arms, right?
Right.
If you're like, now it's time to go back to work, things are definitely going to be different. But I'll be okay. You can be nervous. You can be, but you cannot project you can't transmit those feelings in your household in those ways because your kids are only going to do the same.
Right. So basically they need to go in their bathroom, close the door, and be like, oh,
yeah. Adult content is for adults. I'm a huge advocate on that. I'm not saying you can't go in your room and, say what you got to say sometimes. But everything shouldn't happen in front of your children because they are social learners. They're social beings. And this is what I'm saying, in the book, right? My mom said I can't. She might not even said that to the kid.
Right.
But that's what I heard her. My mom said I can't do that. Right. You got germs. I know you. I can't touch that pencil. They know that from somewhere. No one told them to say that.
Right. Exactly. Let's see. We have some comments. Let's see here. We have Miss Deasia. She says, hello. We have a Valerie. Charisse. She says, peace, sister. And then we have an Eric. Says that you are telling nothing but the truth. You telling nothing but that's right, Eric. She's telling nothing but the truth. And the truth shall set us what? Free. Absolutely. Absolutely. Any other last words that parents can come away with to help their children? Any educators, new educators, entering the school year for their first time,
Right. If you're a new educator, you just graduated, your undergrad or master's program, and you stepped into the field of education, relax. This is a first year for everybody. We're learning this all over, brand new for everybody. Relationships. I don't care if you're teaching pre-K all the way to college. Build relationships with your students. Learn them. Understand them. Because then it makes your job a lot easier.
Wow. Oh, well, thank you so very much. This has been a blessing. And where can they find your book?
It can be found on Amazon. It's not you, it's COVID. You can just put it in the search engine. It's right on Amazon. I think there's a link. If we can put it in the comments section. Be able to do that?
Let me see. Let me see. Okay, I put it in.
Okay, and that if anyone needs to get it, there you can get it there. And that's it.
Yeah. Oh, wow. This has been a blessing. Thank you so very much.
Thank
And
you.
I hope you all learned and got a lot of information from this, because this is why I am here. I am here to help you, and you all help me also. I don't have all the answers. I really don't. And again, my expertise is not working with children, especially those 6-year-olds. You know, I love them, but I just,
Don't say that, because you did an excellent job with the students. You performed for them wonderfully. You taught them.
Oh.
Listen, you are a blessing. You know this. You know.
Well, I thank you, but that's not my lane, so to speak. It's not, no. I like dealing with the adult sex offenders, you know.
We all have our callings.
Exactly. There you go. There you go. Well, thank you so very much, Brittany Harden. Pick up her book. It's Not You, It's COVID. The link is in the comment section. Also, once you go to my YouTube channel, you will see the link right there as well. It's on the Facebook link, it's on the YouTube link, and any other link. It may be on Instagram. I'm going to try to navigate that as well. I want you all to purchase this book. She's not giving it away free to you guys. No, she worked hard. You have to pay for it. How much is the book, Miss Brittany?
Right now it's $5 on Amazon.
See, come on now, y'all. This book is worth more than $5. It really is. It's worth more than $5. Give it up for Miss Harden. Yay!
Thank you.
Oh, thank you so very much. And until next time, you guys, you have entered and now you're exiting the Urban Suite. Bye.